A poor Japanese boy was told he wasn't cut out for business and was assigned to babysit instead. Decades later, the same boy would build a multi-billion-dollar empire that would challenge the biggest car manufacturers in the world. This is the incredible true story of Soichiro Honda. And trust me, you won't believe how it all started. But before we dive into this amazing journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button because stories like this don't come around often. And you don't want to miss what happens next. The year was 1906 in a small poverty-stricken village called Tenryu Shizuoka at the foot of Mount Fuji. A boy named Soichiro Honda was born. His father, a local blacksmith who fixed bicycles on the side, his mother, a talented weaver. But here's the tragic part, Soichiro lost 5 of his siblings growing up due to health issues. Everything changed when 8-year-old Soichiro heard a strange rumble in his neighborhood. He followed that sound and came across something that would change his life forever. A Ford Model T. Listen to what he said about this moment. It was the first car I ever saw. What a thrill. I could not understand how it could move under its own power. When it had driven past me, without even thinking why, I found myself chasing it down the road as hard as I could run. From that moment, young Soichiro was obsessed with engines and machines. But here's where it gets interesting. He hated school so much that he actually forged his family stamp on his grade reports using rubber he found lying around. Obviously, he got caught. His punishment, kneeling for an entire day without lunch. But this rebel spirit would serve him well later. In 1922, at just 15 years old, Soichiro made a life-changing decision. He saw an ad for a Tokyo automobile company called Art Sokai and decided to write them a letter asking for a job. When they replied positively, he dropped out of school and headed to the big city. But here's where the opening story comes in. When Soichiro arrived at Art Sokoi, the owner Yuzo Sakakibara had prepared a job for him, alright, babysitting his child. For months, Soichiro wasn't making any money and spent his day carrying a baby around on his back. The only thing that stopped him from going home was the shame of facing his parents as a failure. But sometimes the worst situations lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Eventually, the owner needed help with his growing automobile business and finally pulled Soichiro in. This is where our future billionaire started learning not just mechanical repairs, but the business side too. Through Art Sokoi, Soichiro worked on Lincolns, Mercedes, Daimlers, and various motorcycles. And here's a crazy fact. In 1923, they built racing cars, and their second model, the Curtiss, won first place at the Japanese Motor Championship in 1924. With 17-year-old Soichiro as the engineer, from that moment, motorsports became his religion. By 1928, Sakakibara trusted Soichiro so much that he put the 21-year-old in charge of new branch in Hamamatsu. But here's the problem, nobody wanted to trust their cars with someone so young. Soichiro had to survive on scraps from other repair shops. But watch this transformation. By the 1930s, his one-man operation had grown to 30 employees. And get this, Soichiro built his own race car, the Hamamatsu, and set a speed record of 120 km per hour that stood for 20 years in Japan. But racing almost killed him. In 1936, he crashed, fracturing his arm, dislocating his shoulder, and damaging his face. After months in the hospital, he returned to racing just 4 months later, until his family convinced him to quit for good. Now here's where Soichiro's entrepreneurial genius really shows. In 1936, he got tired of just repairing cars. He wanted to manufacture parts. But when Art Sokoi's shareholders disagreed with his vision, what did he do? He started his own company, Tokai Siki Heavy Industries. For years, he worked days at his repair shop and nights developing pistons. The stress was so intense, he lost massive amounts of weight and looked completely different. But in 1939, he finally created a working piston and quit Art Sokoi for good. But the real breakthrough came after World War II. Japan was devastated. There was a shortage of food, clothing, shelter, and even gas. Soichiro couldn't even drive to the market to buy food for his family. Then he saw Japanese Imperial Army generator engine used to power wireless radios during the war. And that's when inspiration struck. What if he attached this engine to a bicycle? In 1946, he established the Honda Technical Research Institute with 12 employees, and they successfully created motorbikes using spare parts and engines. These bicycles instantly became a hit across the country. But here's the genius marketing move. When he ran out of used engines, he wrote an open letter to all 18,000 bicycle shops owners in Japan, telling them he had a solution to get Japan moving again. Out of 18,000 letters, 3,000 shops responded and provided the funding he needed. And if you're enjoying this incredible journey, smash that like button because we are about to see how Honda conquered the world. In 1947, the first engine with Honda name was born, the Type A. Then in 1949 came the Model D motorcycle. But it was too big and heavy, so Soichiro stripped it down and after 3 years of trial and error, created the Super Cub. The Super Cub was so successful it won the Emperor's Prize. But here's where it gets crazy. When Honda bought the Super Cub to America in 1958 for just $295, it was a quarter of the price of American motorcycles. Soon Honda was outselling Harley-Davidson in their own home market. Through racing, Honda proved their engineering excellence, winning the Isle of Man TT, the biggest motorcycle race in the world. By 1960s, Honda had become the largest motorcycle company on the planet, producing 10 million motorcycles by 1968. But remember that 8-year-old boy chasing the Ford Model T? Soichiro never forgot that dream. Despite everyone telling him it was too risky, he entered the automobile market in 1963 with the T360 mini truck, followed by the S500 sports car. The real game changer came in 1972 with the Honda Civic. During the oil crisis of the 1970s, Honda's fuel-efficient CVCC engine technology made them incredibly popular. Then came the Honda Accord, which became one of the best-selling sedans in automotive history. By the end of the 1980s, Honda was the third biggest car company on the planet. The boy who was told to babysit instead of learning business had built a global empire. Soichiro Honda retired in 1973 and passed away in 1991. But his legacy lives on. He once said, "Looking back at my work, I feel that I was doing nothing more than mistakes, blunders and serious omissions. But I am proud of the achievements." If this story inspired you, subscribe for more incredible car stories. And let me know in the comments what's your biggest takeaway from Soichiro Honda's journey. Alright guys, that's it for now. I will see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.